Beautiful. Well, welcome to Rooted in Reality, real conversations with real people about life, alignment, and what we're actually working through in our day life. My name is Nicole Marie, and this is not a formal interview. It's a guided conversation where we explore where you are in real time. So please join me in welcoming today's guest, Brian Fay with Concerns Veterans for America. I'd love to just jump right in, Brian. So, how would you describe the season of life that you are in right now? What's present for you?
Ooh. Um, well, right now, I am in, I guess, a towards the end of my healing journey from the army, uh, growing my family, and just working on myself and everything that I want to accomplish.
That's beautiful. Um, what does life look like for you day to day as we're coming to the end of this healing? Like, what is, give me a day to day example.
Um, well, I are you wanting to know my what I wake up, time I wake up and
I mean, however you want to do it. You want to tell me what your routine looks like? You want to give me the knit and grit, or you want to walk me through it,
well,
however.
so I wake up pretty early, and I usually start by making my kids breakfast, uh, letting Alice, my wife, sleep in a little bit longer if I can. And then I get on my computer. So I'm a remote worker. I work for, although I travel a lot for work, so I'm like half remote. Um, I work for a policy organization that works on veterans healthcare reform, foreign policy, energy independence, and I am the strategic director of digital organizing. So I kind of live on my computer and help people figure out how they can, within our staff, how they can use digital tools of the 21st century to expand their reach and presence, to get kind of like the things that we're working on more out there. So after I do breakfast, I kind of, like I said, I just jump on that computer and I start working. I'm also a full-time student. I graduate with a bachelor's in business leadership and a focus in project management, technical certificate in organizational development. I graduate in fall, and my plan is to go on and get my MBA next year. But so I balance between jumping back and forth between doing schoolwork, and I just came from class, my one in-person class a week that I just came from. I also have a older daughter from my first marriage that I have every other week. So on the weeks that I have her, since she goes to school in Lake Nona and I live in Leesburg, I go and find a nice coffee shop, usually somewhere in the Orlando area, and I work in a coffee shop all day. And then when the day is over with work, I usually make dinner. That's how I shut off my work brain. I love cooking. So I turn off that work brain and kick into family mode by making my family dinner. And then hang out with them and hopefully have them in bed by like 8 o'clock and asleep so that I can hang out with my wife.
So beautiful. It's a day. That's a whole day, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you feel most connected to in your life right now?
Um, I would say my kids and wife first, and then my work second.
Yeah.
So,
And so, like the work that you're doing, you feel really passionate about.
oh yeah, and I think not just the policies that we're working on, we're from a company perspective, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, very much believed in those wars at the time that I was fighting in them, and then after getting out, I've kind of realized that we were just, how can I phrase this very we were kind of cogs in a machine that was not really operating in the best interest of the cogs that were in it.
Mm.
And uh, happy to be with an organization that kind of fights for those wars, 20-year wars, endless wars to not be a thing. So that makes me really excited and passionate to show up. I'm excited, I've had some frustrating experiences with VA healthcare. That makes me really excited to show up and and work on things that's going to benefit all of my fellow veterans and making sure that they have healthcare choice. Um, so passionate about that. And then I think the other side of that is I like what I do. The digital organizing, which is kind of translates into digital marketing. I like the digital marketing side and it's fun for me. I kind of geek out on it. Um, a lot of people would find what I do boring because I build strategy documents and vision documents all day, but um, I enjoy it and I like kind of like I like building a strategy for some sort of digital campaign and then like walking through. So it's enjoyable. I like doing it. And then obviously first and foremost, if I work hard because of my family, so I always make sure that my family is my priority. I'm 100% disabled veteran, so like I don't need to work. I like to work and want to work, and I like the ability that working provides additional opportunities for my family, like having great food on the table, being able to take family vacations and travel and do things together. So I always try and make sure that I'm not losing sight of that with work becoming a priority when a work is just a means to support my main priority, which is my family.
That's beautiful. And that kind of leads me into my next question. What do you feel like is shifting or changing in you? You know, you talked about this mentality of just being a cog, and now you're advocating for these cogs, so to speak. So what else has been really just shifting?
Um, you know, when I would say most the biggest shift I've seen is in my mental health. When I got out, I mean, you knew me when I was first got out, Nikki. Like I was definitely not in the best of places. And I had heard multiple times the lovely cliche that time heals all wounds and all that stuff. And I didn't know if that was necessarily true. Come to find out, here I am, 12 years after I got out, very much a believer in that is true. It does just take time and with perseverance. The key is perseverance. Otherwise, you don't see that time to the end of where you can actually see that healing start to happen. Um, but I used to also uh, self-medicate with cannabis on a regular basis. I had a medical card. Um, when I first got out, it definitely helped me with a lot of things. I have now, this month marks a year of not using any sort of marijuana. Um, and I feel much better. Like I basically made a decision when I started school last summer. I was like, I cannot be a productive member of my family, a productive employee, and a productive student if I'm smoking all day. As much as it like helped me go to sleep and all that stuff. So I've seen that shift of like needing certain things to get through to now I just kind of need my own self and maybe just some caffeine. Caffeine helps. Um, but um yeah, no, I've kind of just seen this mental health shift of like feeling very much like a victim of circumstance to feeling empowered in everything I do. Whereas, I sometimes I look at other veterans that are just, woe is me, and I just kind of want to shake them and be like, like you own this, like you can be better. You just have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'd say that's the shift
Yeah.
back full circle.
It's a beautiful shift too, right? You know, when you were talking about the time heals all wounds, and just kind of reflecting on our journey together, and how we met both kind of in that deeper space of having PTSD. I would say that the skills, right? I've watched you develop skills during that time that you didn't have, right? And maybe that also helped contribute to that. So that's beautiful. Where in your life right now feels really solid and grounded? Like just like, yeah, like this is the ground.
Um,
Would that be your marriage, your kids, your just
no,
entire
I think I think I'd have to go back to two answers ago and with my priorities and be my family, my wife. Honestly, Alice is a very solid partner, supportive in everything that I do. I don't think that I could uh, do what I do every day with work and everything if I didn't know that Alice was absolutely taking care of everything here at the house and taking care of the kids. So I would say very grounded in my wife, which makes me grounded just entirely in my family as well.
Beautiful. And where would you say that things may still feel a little out of sync or, just a little off sometimes?
The work-life balance, I think, is always something that's hard to navigate. And I think that so I am, and you know this about me, I am a ambitious individual. Ambitious, sometimes my demeanor has been described as what I would like to say passionate. Others would say brash. I'll go with passionate. Um, and that ambition and that passion sometimes makes me feel down, I guess is the best way because I always want more. I want not necessarily more wealth or more, but I just want more. It's not like any one thing. Like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my masters. I want to have these things in life. And I think sometimes my desires of having those additional things causes an internal conflict that makes me feel off because I'm like, oh, well, I have everything. Right now I'm in my home office and I listen right outside the door and I hear my kids playing with Alice and I hear all that. And I'm like, that's everything.
Yeah.
But then the internal part of me is, and I start working or I start thinking about something. I'm like, well, I don't have this yet, so I'm not complete. Or I don't have this yet, and that's going to make me feel more complete if I have that. So it's like a constant balancing act of like going back from like, no, I've got it. Would this be great to have? Yes, 100%. I would love to have this, but it's not going to make me feel complete and it's not going to make me a better dad or a better husband. Will it maybe make me a better worker, better employee, a better cog? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I think that's the thing that feels off is just my balancing my internal desires with being grounded in the fact that I've already got so much.
So speaking on those internal desires, what's been taking up the most space in your mind lately?
Um, so I really miss being an entrepreneur. I loved owning my own thing. And so I would say right now I've got a strong thirst for starting up my own business. I don't know what that looks like. I'm playing around with maybe starting a digital marketing business again, which I had kind of at the height of COVID. Um, I had this company that was doing video marketing, but we were also doing all the video stuff, and I know I don't want to go back to that. So I would say that's like where my mind's at. And then school. I wanna be more competitive in the market, and I know a piece of paper that says I am now educated in the things that I already do and know how to do is going to make me somehow more competitive in this country. And so yeah, I would say entrepreneur. I want that again, and I am seeking that. And then finishing school. Like I've got that like done in the fall. I am honed in on that. So.
Oh, would you say that you're rethinking this, like the business, or you're outgrowing like working for the man? Like where's that at? Like what are you rethinking? What are you outgrowing?
I think
Or do you
it's
hold it all? Like,
I want it all.
right.
No, I think it's like again, I love I love the company that I work for. I love what I do. I just think I've always had this boss energy of wanting to be yeah, right, of wanting to be my I like being my own boss. When I first got out of the army, I started a mobile detailing business that was very successful, sold that. It led me to all these other opportunities. And I feel also it's like my I've realized through all the things that I've gone through in my life that relational capital is the tr true capital in this. Like it's, which is just a fancy way of saying it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And you know, when I owned my company for detailing business, because of that, that brought me to the connections that I was able to make that had me working on campaigns and working for the Florida House. And then those connections that I made there had me start up a marketing business, doing video production stuff, which led me to connections to the, working for this company. And so it's like it's I think it's just that desire to like be able to expand my relational capital and the people like I feel like I'm in now this nice like little comfortable bubble of like I work with the same people every day and I haven't expanded that bubble in a while, and I know by becoming an entrepreneur again and doing my own thing that's going to force me to expand and develop new relationships and meet new people. And I know that that's where life is really at is having those relationships with people.
Mm, yeah. Well, you're expanding your bubble by being here and talking to me. I mean, just saying, my people don't know you yet. So
Yeah, right.
welcome to the new expanded
To
version
Nikki's
of Project
bubble.
Bubble.
You introduce yourself as Nicole. Should I call you Nicole or should
No,
I?
no, no, no. It's beautiful because, having these conversations, there's people that I have interviewed that have known me in different walks of life. So you've known me a couple lifetimes ago. So welcome to Nicole Marie lifetime.
Okay.
But, but
I think I'm going to call you Nikki. If that's
yeah,
okay.
that's a, I want to move us out of the thought process for a second. And I would like to invite you into feeling for a moment. And I want to know, what have you been feeling recently? Ooh, let's get in there for a second. Because we talked a lot about the thoughts, we thought about what's grounding you, but what have you been feeling?
Um, hmm. Uh, Gosh, this is an interesting one to say. I would say maybe just a touch of insecurity, and that's probably because of the thoughts.
Hmm.
Like, again, I think those thoughts of like, I think thoughts drive feelings and feelings drive thoughts, right? So I think the the thoughts of like wanting more, to do more, am I doing enough is driving me to feel like insecure in my like what I'm doing in life. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being the best husband? Am I being the best dad? I was just talking to Alice at lunchtime saying like sometimes like when I come home from um work trips and stuff like that. And Hensley, my youngest daughter, is all over me and just like, and then when I go to leave and I'm driving to the airport, she's like running down the driveway crying, and it makes me feel like a bad dad. But at the same time, like I know I'm going to like work to get money. And so like that just makes me feel really insecure and like gosh, sell the whole thing and go live on a farm, and I might not have the most money, but I'll raise goats and be at home every day. I don't know. Like that again, so it's just these like rapid thoughts of like insecurity that or rapid thoughts of like, am I doing the right thing that lead to me feeling insecure.
And those feelings like of insecurity, is it bringing anything up to the surface that hasn't had the space to be expressed?
Define that a little better for me.
So when we go into these moments of like insecurity, right? And at the end of the day, your family needs you, job needs you, and so you might feel it for a moment, but you don't allow yourself to go into it because you don't maybe have the space, you don't have the time. I don't have the capacity to really get in here and feel all of this right now because I don't want to become mush. Is there anything in there that you really haven't had the space to express that you can like tap into and be like, yeah, I know this feeling exists, but who got the time for that? Right? Like what's that looking like for you?
Um, I as you probably know, I'm incredibly busy. So I probably have not given myself time to like express or feel. I mean, I talked to like Alice is probably the one person that I talk to about everything I'm feeling. Sometimes, probably I'm sure it makes her crazy because my feelings will change from
Oh my
like, oh, I want to do this. Like, no, now I want to do this. And so I'm sure she's dealing with that, but again, very supportive wife. But um it's yeah, I don't think I've at this season of my life have let myself like slow down probably in the last 3 years to really be in any sort of like feeling space. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and sometimes that's not good because sometimes feelings all bubble up at once and they come out poorly. And then, I put the lid back on the bottle and
like a pressure cooker.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get burned. Ah,
Yeah.
hang on, it's not ready. Wow. So, what do you feel? What do you feel? Right, we're going into this feeling again. What do you feel like you're being pulled towards? What do you feel like like you're being like as if something is an opposing magnet to you and you feel like you're being pulled towards this thing, if anything?
Anything like feeling like I think that goes back to like I'm just feeling that strong, strong urge to start something that's mine again. Um, and uh, be it financial security or the desire just to be my own boss again. Um, I I want something that's like I'm like, yeah,
That's
that's
right.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so uh I and maybe it is that like I'm a very, independent person and I don't always probably my hardest time in the military was because I asked questions a lot and you're not supposed to ask questions to of like an order or anything and I mean it's much more acceptable in the civilian world in a company to ask questions and bring up challenges and stuff like that but sometimes I just don't want to even have to ask a question or challenge. I just want to do it my way. And even if my way is turns out not to be the best way, at least I know I did it my way. And I want that freedom to do that again. So
Not instead of being labeled as doesn't play well with others, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I get
My supervisor put it this way. He said sometimes in our community, which is what we call it like in not a workplace, but a community, for the company I work for, is that uh, highly effective people sometimes are not the most highly liked
yeah.
because in order to be highly effective, you have to like push back and drive through and knock down obstacles and barriers and just drive on things. And he said, it's hard navigating that because then you can, if you're not highly liked, you can be flagged as like not a culture fit. And he's like, but it doesn't change the fact that you're not highly effective. And I guess that's where it's like,
I'd say
doesn't
that just
play,
described the two of us in one.
yeah, it's that doesn't play well with others thing is, you know, I kind of just want to, wow, this is about, I just want to play with myself. Um, it's like I heard it in my head before I said it. I'm like, F it, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say
we're going with send it.
it.
No, I get that. Sometimes solo play is what we'll we'll call it. Sometimes solo play is
Doesn't sound better.
it's not only necessary, but it's needed. So what do you feel like as we're talking about solo player, what do you feel like is being like what is asking more of you, right? Like what is that part of you that says, I just want more of this. Is it more time by myself? Is it more time to make the decisions on my own? Like what is asking more of you right now?
Um, gosh, internally, the thing that's asking more of myself would be the the time to be able to commit to building something out on my own. Externally, I I think my kids ask for more of my time. Which then goes back to that internal conflict of insecurity of like, if I pursue what I'm feeling and wanting, am I also giving up? Because it takes, as you know, Takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. It takes a lot more. Like I'm done with this job at 5 p.m. every day. Like I can shut it off. I don't do weekends, but if you're running your own thing, you're working late nights, you're working weekends. And
Yeah.
if I do that because I have a passion and desire to do it, am I also giving up on the external thing that's pulling me to also have more time for my family as well? So which again just goes back to
And I
the
wonder if there's a bridge there, right? Like I wonder if there is a way that the internal can bridge you into that external thing that's pulling you, right? In my experience, some of the things that I created as a single mom included my son, right? Like I created these programs. So I would be interested to see what you come up with, and I know that you are determined, if not anything else, to hold those things. So I would be interested to see how that plays out, and you'll have to keep me informed on what that looks like for you. So where does life feel really easy and very in flow for you right now?
um gosh I would
These
have to say huh
these questions are stretching you a bit, huh?
yeah, they're different than my usual like podcast or interview questions of like talking about foreign policy relations and stuff, which is just way easier. Um,
No, we're
uh,
talking about Brian. We're talking about
yeah.
the heart behind that.
um I would say the dive into the question a little more for me. Help me out here.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question first. Where does it feel like life is just easy and in flow for you? What are the things that when you're doing something or where it's just working, like opportunities, invitations are coming out of nowhere, like you're just like, yes, I can be in this energy even more. Like, where do you feel lit up? Where does it feel very playful for you? What feels really easy?
Honestly, right now, school feels really easy. It I've done last semester I did 5 classes. This semester I'm doing 5 classes. I'm doing 4 classes in the summer, 4 classes in the fall, so that I can stay on track to graduate. And everyone told me 5 classes, that's a lot. Like you're gonna have a hard time keeping your grades up. I got straight A's last semester. I'm on track to get straight A's this semester. And honestly, I'm maybe putting in like 3 to 5 hours of additional work into school week, which everyone's like, oh, you're going to be stretched so thin. Um, as you know, again, I do what I want. When people tell me that I can't do something or it's going to be hard to do, usually that fuels me to do it even more.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch me. Give me an
I'm
extra.
gonna do it anyway. Um, and Yeah, school right now I think is probably the easiest thing for me. And honestly, I would say work is pretty easy. It's got its own dramas like any workplace with multiple different personalities has, but my job is I feel natural at doing this digital organizing, digital marketing stuff. It comes easy to me to do. Um, yeah, those would be.
So, if these things feel in flow, what feels like you have to push? Like where do you feel like you're having to like, oh, I just got to push myself to show up. I got to push, if anything. What feels like you're forcing or pushing your way through or strong arming your way through right now?
Um, my relationship with my teenage daughter would probably be the only thing in life that I'm having to like force or push through. And I mean that comes with navigating, you know, shared custody. That makes it difficult. But just the fact that she's going into her freshman year this year, and uh, she's a teenage girl. Like I think that's just, I mean, she's an incredibly good kid, straight A student, like no problems there, but it's like where we used to be best friends when she was younger. It's hard to feel that connection with her now because I just don't understand a lot of the things that she's into. Um, and honestly, I only learn her generation's words so that I can embarrass her by using them in the car inappropriately, like completely out of context. You know, like slay. Like I just like to use that just for no reason at all.
Yeah.
So
You got to show up and slay.
oh yeah, I clock it. I clock it.
Yeah.
I do that in on work calls now just to make everybody laugh. Like, but she taught me that, and
Got a
so
yes. Where do you have
yeah,
the yes with it?
I don't know, Nikki. I do a more subdued clock where I just kind of
Mm, yeah.
like
Oh, I
yeah,
love that. I love that teenage girl. Who, yeah, I feel like that would be a push for you, huh?
yeah. No,
And not only that, but she has an opinion of her own now and
how
things.
dare
Yeah, yeah. You're not her idol anymore, huh?
how dare she? No, that's the teenage years are, and everyone tells me that's got older teenage girls that they're like, yeah, they level out like around 17. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
great. Uh,
Time heals all wounds.
yeah. Um, so, we have a good relationship. It's just not nearly as close as it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got to figure out. We got to figure out how to get you snatched so you slay in all these conversations. I love that. So, are you ready? Let's go into the shadow a little bit. Do you feel like there's anything that you've been avoiding?
avoiding.
Yeah.
Um,
Whether it's internal, not necessarily external stuff, but like internal. Like, do you feel like, you said you're kind of coming to the end of this healing journey from the army. Is there anything that's residue, anything that's coming up that you feel like you haven't had an opportunity to really take a look at, or you're avoiding it? I know it's there, but I'll circle back to that.
I am avoiding physical health stuff right now because I absolutely, which is funny because I was a medic in the army. I absolutely hate doctors, and think that they're the worst. And for some reason, every time you go, it's like going to a lawyer. They never have anything good to tell you. Um, so I've got thyroid issues. I've got endophilic esophagitis. So like my esophagus is like a straw, and I choke on my food a lot. And I think I've been avoiding just addressing some of my health concerns, and fixing those problems because it just takes uh, more discipline and time than I feel I have right now. Which, now this is getting personal. Now I've got to go and get an ultrasound of my liver because my liver enzymes are elevated, and I'm like, man, I just gotta get back in control of my physical health. My mental health has hit a great place. And if I die tomorrow, I'll die mentally happy, but I would like to not die tomorrow. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the kicker.
And what do you think is blocking you from focusing on that physical health daily? Like
It
what's here? What?
scares me because every time I start to try and focus on something with my physical health, something else comes up. Like when I started having my thyroid issues and I started focusing on that, then I got asthma and then I got eczema. And then it was like, okay, I've got all these autoimmune conditions. And, um, I connected with Dr. Anderson with the My Healthy Matrix guy. I think you met him at the Corey Mills event. Paid to be a client, like my original like 99, and I have not gone
Mm,
to go and do anything, like no blood work, anything, because I'm just worried that he's going to tell me I have to make all these like really hard, difficult life changes that I'm not ready to make. Um, you know, so I'm just avoiding.
Uncomfortable? Is it the fear of like having to learn new habits all over again? Like what
I
is
think
that?
it's a little bit of everything. Like it's a little bit of fear of the unknown, being uncomfortable. I'm gonna be 40 next year. I like my habits. I uh I think it's just like I think the biggest worry is I say I make all these life changes. Say I go pescatarian. I'm only eating fish and I'm just giving crazy examples now and I'm working out, 2 times a day and I've got all and I do all that and then just something else with my health pops up because all of my stuff is exposure related to like military. Like if you look like all my conditions have been service connected as like, yeah, you were exposed to this, you were exposed to this, you were exposed to this. And I was like, you start looking at some of the exposure stuff and you're like, high probability that I'm just going to develop cancer. And I could make all these life changes. And at the end of the day, like I've got all these fun exposures. I could do it all. It's like so I lost my grandma in November and I lost my other grandma last month. Um, one lived to 84, one lived to 96. And she was going to the gym 2 times a day up until she was like 92, driving herself to the grocery store every day until she got, and what did she die of? Pancreatic cancer, just out of the blue. I mean, doing all the healthy stuff. And then you've got my other grandma, 84, who loved bacon, butter, and heavy cream. And, um, you know, and she was diabetic. And then she made all these life changes to like not be diet, to not to get rid of her type 2. And then she just looked at me and she's like, sometimes I just wonder, am I doing all this and giving up everything that I enjoy in life, like the sugar and the bacon and things that make life more enjoyable? And then in the end, death comes for us all. She's
Yeah.
like, am I gonna like give up this enjoyable part of my life and still die? Um, and so I think that's where it comes from is like, am I like gonna be faced with like, I like having a bourbon at night? Like, am I gonna go and they're gonna be like, you need to cut out all bourbon? And I'm gonna be like, but I enjoy that. I don't drink to like get drunk. I enjoy a bourbon.
Yeah.
Um, like, and I've got young kids, so at the same time, it's like I have to like make decisions based on am I here for a long time or a good time, as the expression goes. And I guess I want to be here for both. I want a long, good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and uh, yeah, that's
Oh, you know what? And I want to speak into this too because I feel like sometimes when these fears come up, I think the first thing is knowing that we're not alone in them, right? And I think that it's difficult to share some of these fears, especially in I want to say like in the civilian world because we experience them. I would say very radically, very intensely, and in a very short amount of time. Right? I had 11 surgeries before I was 30 years old, and in the back of my head, even though I've done all these incredible things, even though they told me I was going to be in a wheelchair by 25, and here I am at 35, hiking, 75 to 100 miles a season, right? Like, even though I've overcame all of these obstacles, there is, and was for a very long time, that fear of, that health, whenever I have to go to the doctor, I have to sit and pray and meditate and say, okay, you got to go and be your advocate. And they're going to tell you your LDL is high. And you're going to say, well, I'm a carnivore. Of course it's high, really just, you know, dig your heels in what and that can be scary. And, sometimes when I sit around amongst the carnivores, there's times where I want to be ancestral. So I'll eat potatoes. I'll have some really good kettle chips that are doused in blue cheese because they're delicious. And being able to find that balance is scary. And being able to understand that if I'm strict all of the time, it's depleting me of joy. But if I'm joyous all the time, it's there,
Depleting life.
right, it's depleting, right. So in my own experience, right, it's being able to hold both. Like how can both things exist? What are my non-negotiables? Right? Like what are some of the things? So for me, that's been looking like I'll go out dancing once a week, and instead of having a bourbon or a Jack and Coke, I'll take a salted rim glass with some ice water and a lime. So I look fancy and I'm just drinking mineral water. Because for me, right, the joy is in dancing and showing up and being in community until 12, 1 o'clock when I'm usually sleeping, but still allowing myself that space. So, I think it's very real, and I'm sure that there are other people who are holding these fears where it's like, when you've gone to the doctor and they say, hey, you think, oh, I'm finally on top of it, and they're like, oh, by the way, you've got some polyps. Oh, by the way, your lymphatic system isn't draining good, and you're like, not on, like, what else, right? So I'm sure that there's other people who are hearing you express this that can connect with that. So that fear of wanting to be here for not only a good time but a long time, right? Is there anything else deep down that when as you're speaking through that, like any of those things that are deep down that you haven't said out loud, right? Like those things of like, yeah, I'm really just scared.
I mean, yeah, I think I said it. I think I said it like, I am a little scared by it. I've got aside from the what I exposed myself to during my service, cancer lives on both sides of my family. And, they think that my grandma had cancer. There was a mass on her aorta. But no one was going to biopsy. That's what ended up killing her. Uh, Other one died of pancreatic cancer. The one that died of the mass on the aorta, her husband died of lung cancer. My dad's dad died of liver cancer. It's a concern. Like, and so it definitely does make me scared to like sit there and give up the things that I enjoy in life, and maybe I'm already uh maybe my end point is already set of like you've been exposed to this radiation, burn pits, all the fun stuff, which given your genetic disposition to cancer, guess what, buddy? The cards have been dealt and that's what's happening. I'm not saying that's reality. I'm just saying that's what goes through my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Now I want to question that a little bit if it's okay with you, right?
go for it.
So earlier, when we were talking about external things, and you had said something about school and people telling you when you're taking on 5 classes and you're doing these things, it's going to be too much. You're not going to be able to do it, right? And it became this hold my beer.
Where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Yeah, you see where I'm going, right? So so at what point, if it's at all possible, that you begin to challenge that, right? Like that, those internal things that say, you know what, buddy, the odds are stacked against you. And so, this is just what it is. And at what point do you, if at all, and how, right? How do you say, you know what, internal voices that say this, hold my beer because I'm here for a long time and a good time. Like,
Soon is my answer to that because I mean like I don't I've hit a point where I this has been on my mind a lot lately with my health stuff, and I'm like Alice and I what we do sorry, what we started this year, because we saw it on social media and we thought it was amazing, was we in January we sat down and we basically like ran our family like a business. We rented a room in the library, put up a dry erase board. And for like the week and a half before, we like wrote down all of our goals that we wanted to accomplish, like personal, house, professional, like travel, all the goals. And then we put them all up on, and then we started like crossing, like we started talking through each goal, erasing some, rewriting some. I know, come here. Um, Kitty. Um, yeah. And uh one of the things I put on there was this year is to get my health in check. And we literally like budgeted m money out of our yearly thing of like, what does that look like? Like fitness, going to like get the labs done, like doing the biohacking stuff and looking at like all of that. So it's gonna get done because it's on a goal for
On
this year.
the list.
It's on the list. So it's gonna get done. I think the only reason why it hasn't started is because of my own internal like scared of doing it. It's just like I'm like, but my wife is continuously reminding me like this is a goal for you this year. Like you need to do it. And I'm like, okay. So
Let this be your accountability because you just shared it live with all of us. So, as we've talked through all of this, what's becoming more clear for you?
um
Anything?
that I just need to do.
Yeah.
Um yeah, like I nothing that we talked about today is not something that I haven't probably talked to myself at some sort of level of ad nauseum. Um, and I think like how you put it, like when external conflicts come to me and say, "Oh, you can't do this," I usually am like, "Watch me." Um, I think I need to say that to myself in the same respect of like when I'm my own biggest adversary,
Mhm.
um, I need to tell myself, watch me.
Yeah.
So
So that leads me to my next question. What shifted just because you said it out loud?
um
The watch me.
the watch me.
Watch me.
Um it's I guess this is a timely conversation because it's been talked about a lot this week, and I've started talking to potential business partners about starting a business. So I think all this is going to do is just continue to motivate me to um do. So,
What would you say to someone who feels like they are where you've been?
ooh. Um, Gosh, there's so many cliche things I could say, like, can't is the real C word. Um, but ultimately I say to anybody, uh, what I tell most people is like you can't know the meaning of the word quit. Like quitting is not an option on anything. Um, and that I think like you can apply that to just about anything that you're wanting to do or feeling is like, you can't quit on yourself, you can't quit on your goals, you can't quit on 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 life in general. Like you have to like keep pushing forward, like have that perseverance, have that resilience to know that at some like those dark tunnels that you feel like you're going through, that there is a light on the other side. And maybe sometimes that light is you shining the flashlight in your own face and walking through the tunnel like this. But eventually you'll figure out how to turn that flashlight around and get through the tunnel and find the other side of it. Um, and you know, also the classic fake it till you make it is a great one that I have abided by for a lot of the last 12 years is even if you're not feeling a certain way, fake that feeling and eventually it'll manifest into an actual genuine feeling. Um, like if you're just feeling like you can't do something or if you're feeling sad, fake some happiness because it is going to be toxic in a good way into how you're actually feeling. It's hard to
Yeah.
fake. being happy and not actually be a little bit happy while you're faking doing it. Like, unless you're just like the world's best actor. Maybe a bad example of this is like Robin Williams, but like if you dive into his life, he was an incredibly sad person, an individual, and comedy was his outlet to not feeling sad. But he was doing that for everybody else's benefit, never himself. And so
Yeah.
it's like if you have to like fake an emotion or fake a drive till it till it clocks with you. Um, yeah. I don't know if I properly used that, but you know.
I think that was good. I think that was a good placement. And I mean, we might be the blind leading the blind with these, but I think it was a good placement. So what I'm hearing is is that when life smacks you in the teeth, when life is telling you it's hard, that you get to choose what knocks you down, what picks you up. You get to choose what you put on your plate. You get to choose, you get to create what it is that you want. You get to choose your family. You get to choose your work. You get to choose, what you give your attention to. And it sounds like you're in a space of choosing the things that bring you joy and also bring you longevity. It sounds like that's the space you're in, joy and longevity. And to me it feels like I'm excited that I get to watch you this season. I'm excited that I get to see this what does joy and longevity look like in Brian Fay.
Um, Cocaine and a sauna.
No, not anymore. Days are done, sir. Those days once. Yeah, no, I think it's gonna look a little more healthy, right? Like longevity, right? I think I'm excited. Regardless, I think one of the things that I've always valued about our friendship is that I think that when people see your light, when you are in your own darkness, when you can't see it yourself, there's something that holds value to that. And I can't speak for you, but I feel like for me, you've been that for me, I've been that for you. We've been able to see each other. So now that we're kind of on this other end of it, and we have found healthy or more healthier ways to cope with some of the things, some of the challenges that life brings us. It's great, and I can't wait to continue to watch you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for today for this conversation. This is rooted in reality, and here we are, real conversations about real life.
A lot of reality for a Thursday.
Yes, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
All right. Bye, Nikki.